Hey, what is up, sports fans? It is your favorite hosts, Jonah and RPF, here with another episode of Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF. How about that? And I believe RPF, they said we wouldn't last.
After that opening, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that they're not wrong. And that's very funny. Hi, Jonah.
Hello. Hey, listen. It's been a minute. We don't do this professionally for a living, so we do get sidetracked here and there. I know RPF just kind of like took off and went on a boat and like cruised around and.
Well, it's called a ship, but yes, I did that for my first holiday since the pandemic, and it was like floating around the Caribbean. So it's a very nice thing to do. Yeah.
But yeah, at any rate, it's been a minute. We've got a lot to catch up on. So if some of these topics are slightly older in the news, we do apologize, but we haven't talked about them, which means they pretty much didn't exist. Am I correct?
Well, nothing happens until we talk about it. So
correct.
That's always been the MO. I mean, hello. I mean,
correct.
We just got around to like the first season of The Sopranos. Just anyway.
All right. So let's start RPF. Let's start with probably the biggest news that happened since our last episode, and that is
that you were proven wrong that Aaron Rodgers, in fact, became a New York Jet.
Yes, Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jet.
First of all, there's a lot of things to unpack here. As people who follow us may remember or may know that Aaron Rodgers has a special place in the cockles of our heart on this program because he's essentially the most disliked person in football. Anyway, so having said that, he took a break from not showering and writing a manifesto in his cabin in Minnesota or Wisconsin, to actually Green Bay, could be anywhere. And really, I mean, it's that, come on, Green Bay, really. I mean, let's talk about this for 1 second. How does Green Bay have a team and San Diego doesn't? It's just kind of bizarre. Anyway, the point is that Aaron Rodgers has, in fact, worked out a deal after pre-announcing it with the New York Jets, therefore making him literally a commuter train away from my home. Alarming is not the word to discuss it. But having said that, Aaron Rodgers has now, as I predicted, and you certainly did not, has now beefed up the AFC East to truly qualify it as the AFC Beast, with a very strong potential for that happening. Meaning that the teams at full tilt in that division are formidable. No one wants to face any of these teams, I think, at full bore. So
let me ask you this: are you buying into the hype? I know, obviously, you're a Dolphins fan. We know this, but are you buying into the hype that this makes them it immediately makes them a Super Bowl contender?
No, it makes them formidable. Here's the thing: he's 130 years old. They're guaranteeing him, and I'll say this slowly for people to comprehend what this means. A school teacher in Green Bay makes $32,000 a year. He is guaranteed in 2024 to make $107 million, whether he plays at one down or not.
Wow.
He's a bad manicure away from being the richest person who doesn't play football. So that's just, the New York Jets were in a bind, like we talked about in the previous episodes. So they had no way out. They had to empty out the drawer because there's nothing else to do. I mean, without Aaron Rodgers, how does anyone go to that stadium and not boo everybody that's there? So therefore, at least they have to get this out of the system. Aaron Rodgers will collect his money for 2 years. We'll go, oh, my ankle hurts. He'll sit out for six games. The Jets will end up being, let's give him generosity. Let's give him 9-8 or 10-7. They make their wild card team and they lose to whomever in the first round. So I think they are legitimately a contender. But if Aaron Rodgers gets second wind and inspired, and he's all of a sudden got the fountain of youth injection, then it's going to be a very interesting time. But I think they are a contender because they have a great defense. They have a really solid supporting cast. Now, if anyone gets hurt from this first line of defense and offense, they don't have, I mean, as far as I can tell, anyone there's no depth in this start. Yeah. So that's the issue they have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it makes them a Super Bowl contender. It definitely puts them, in my opinion, in the playoffs. Yeah. Again, barring like nothing drastic happens, everything.
But that's a big barring because that's football,
Sure,
and he's,
yeah.
and the O line's not the greatest. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not champing at the bit to have my Dolphin, defensive line scoring up against the unwashed Rodgers across the way
Yeah.
twice a year. So
Basically,
Oh, by the way, in a little side note, he has a new girlfriend. Just to wrap up the whole package with a bow, a supermodel of sorts, who doesn't have an Instagram account, and she's happens to be the daughter of the owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. So
okay.
so she's so she has bank. So they have, so they let them pick up the tab if they go on a double date with them, because they have plenty of black cards like laying around their bottom of their purses.
All this really does for me is this just really for me marks the day that I more so became a hater of the Jets than a fan of the Patriots.
That is a good point. I mean, my favorite thing of the whole offseason as a Dolphin fan was that we got Braxton Berrios to Miami. Braxton is a former Hurricane, the U standout. He's like a Cuban guy. He's good looking. He's dating Olivia Coople's sister, and he's like this guy.
Right, the one that
all of a sudden,
the one that couldn't hack it for the Patriots. I gotcha.
No, was it the Patriots?
He was drafted by the Patriots.
Right. But now he's going to be the first number 0 jersey ever in Dolphin history, because now they're allowing number 0. Anyway, we need a punt returner, scrappy guy, a third down slot guy. Anyway, the fact that his first thing was like, I hate the Jets, was his first comment in his press conference, endeared him so much to me that I could not even understand how much I do hate the Jets as well. The Jets suck. Anyway, so that I do agree. I do see how Aaron Rodgers just escalates that to the point where it's like brimming.
Right.
Like, dear God, if the Patriots can't win, for heaven's sakes, not the Jets.
Right. And like now it's just like, again, as a Patriots fan, I've chronicled this in the past year or two. I'm just not that high on the team right now. And like, listen, when we played the Jets without Aaron Rodgers, I was like, oh boy, I don't know, it's gonna be close. And now I have to watch them beat us, and I gotta go, oh.
Another sidelight, though, with the Patriots, you have my favorite player with Mike Gesicki, who's a tight end for the Dolphins, and now with the Jets, we just got our backup quarterback is the former Jets starting quarterback. So it's all very kind of like is Italian family at dinner type of situation with the three of us.
I don't know that it's fair to say that your backup quarterback was the Jets starting quarterback, because I'm not sure the Jets had a starting quarterback.
Well, it's true. In the revolving, well, he was a starting quarterback until he got hurt, but he was actually the most promising of the three.
I would agree.
Didn't succeed. Yeah,
I would agree. Let's keep it in football. I've got another headline that I kind of popped across this morning.
Let me guess.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Let's play. You get 3 guesses.
Look. Finally, the QB drama is over for the time being in the NFL with Lamar Jackson.
Oh yeah,
unexpectedly.
Yeah. So that's where I was headed.
Okay, you were okay, but I was like, but all the headline, and besides, the NFL draft will be next. But Lamar Jackson signed a contract, and wait for this contract. Ready?
Yes.
Lamar Jackson, after trying to get out of Baltimore at all costs. I mean, thinking about going to anywhere else, including whatever the team in Washington's called. He literally signed a contract for $260 million, guaranteed $185 million. Again, if he breaks a fingernail and he can't play, he gets paid $185 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. I have this question. If he was the highest paid quarterback, what took the Ravens a year and a half of drama and cirrus and consternation for that fan base, for Lamar, for their own team to kind of build? I mean, if you're going to pay him the money, pay him the money. I don't understand that logic.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this guy.
Do you?
No, but this comes down to just NFL contracts in general. I never understand what the hell's going on in the NFL. Like, I just seriously. No.
Well, good thing you admit this early on in the podcast season, so we can actually.
I mean, on the back end. I mean, with contracts,
and the office part.
Yeah, office stuff. Like it, I don't get it. I really don't. Like it just, I've I've never really comprehended personally I've never really comprehended the whole, like, there's no, like, players don't get traded. It's just draft picks get traded, which is
Mhm.
different than, like, I'm familiar with baseball. So baseball's like, oh, we will trade you this player for these two players. They don't.
You've had that phone call or that that meeting with the
Well,
manager before.
I have, except it was, we will give you this player for this box of baseballs.
Well, how new were the baseballs? That's what I mean.
They were new. They were new. Okay, they were new. They were new.
That's worth it. Okay. I mean, first of all, I dream of being traded by any team for a box of baseballs. That would be my personal goal.
But I do think it is fair to point out. You mentioned real quick that Lamar Jackson was trying anything to get out of Baltimore. I don't know that's necessarily fair. I think he was just trying to get paid, and whether that was Baltimore or not, I don't think he has a problem. I think he'd love to.
I don't have a problem with him trying to get what he deserves.
No.
But the problem is I have with Baltimore, the front office saying what. I mean, this was not 2 months of engagement. This was a season and a half of nonsense.
Correct, and I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying, in your comments, and maybe you didn't mean it like this. You mentioned that Lamar Jackson was trying adamantly to get out of Baltimore, and I just think he was trying adamantly to get paid. Whether he was
trying to do Tyreek Hill justifiably,
which he
and
should
Tyreek
have.
got it in Miami, right? Exactly.
Which he should have. So.
Right. And by the way, not for nothing, I'm thrilled that a black quarterback is the highest paid quarterback in history. I mean,
yeah, it's great.
Damn right.
Absolutely.
Lamar Jackson, any team would love to have, with no other drama involved. Lamar Jackson as a talent, is undeniable.
Yeah,
I mean, unbelievable. Yeah.
So what do we got? How are we predicting going forward with Lamar Jackson and OBJ, Odell Beckham?
I think that's interesting. I think OBJ's on the latter half of his career, and Jackson's right in the middle, and right in prime time. So I think there's a couple of years, 3-4 years, that could be really kind of like, what, one-handed catch again? Right. It could be like, look, it's so exciting. I mean, you think about it just in broad terms of talent. The AFC, the quarterbacks and their receivers, on a dozen teams are like, I mean, think about Burrow. Think about, I mean, you go across, Mahomes. I mean, think, it's an aerial game, and it's interesting to see that 2 running backs, by the way, which we'll talk about, were picked in the top 12 first round for the draft, which just happened last night, in case you're wondering when we're recording this. It happened last night, and unexpectedly, 2 running backs in the top 12, when running backs are always considered like, you can get them in the second round. They're always available,
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a very interesting dynamic that the wide receivers and quarterback combos, tandems in the AFC potentially could just be a very exciting season for the fans. I mean, just like explosive. And, so we'll see. It's going to be fun. I can't, honestly, I say this every year, but this season is shaping up to be really, really, really interesting. In the schedule, I'm interested to see what's happening with these primetime games. And now so many more of them are flexible, right? So now they're in the flex schedule. So it is really
thank God, right? Like,
no more Russell Wilson Denver against Seattle. I mean, I can't take another Russell Wilson 6-3 affair. I can't.
In fairness to the NFL, when you look at the teams, they always go off like they do try their best. I think when they pick these games,
it's based on the season's last season.
It's based on the last season, but for whatever reason, it just never pans out, and you end up like, how many Thursday night games? The only game on TV.
No,
were just
Arizona against Detroit. It's like
awful.
It's like, exactly. It's like, on paper 2 years ago, it would have been interesting.
Amazing, yeah.
Right. Like Pittsburgh with everyone injured, and 1-7 plays the Seahawks, which whatever. It's no bueno. Speaking of which, it's a side note. This is the first time since I've been, I don't know, functioning, that DirecTV does not own the Sunday ticket. So it's now YouTube. I have a little personal note. I have all the streaming channels, right? I have everything you think of. I don't have YouTube TV because
I don't either. Yeah, I will now.
I'm like, I know, right?
I am.
How does that even work?
I am. Obviously, I don't work for YouTube, and I'm not a technological person behind the scenes. I am excited to see I feel I have such high hopes for the potential that this could pull out.
I will tell you, I read something from the YouTube people like a month ago saying that they're going all in with the
Yeah.
technology, with the cameras. But let me ask you a question that's kind of like, maybe I can't be the only person like this, but when I watch the games on Amazon on Thursday night,
Yep.
and it's hard for me, with the regular, I have, DirecTV, so it's usually, I pause and fast forward and go back, and it's harder for me on that, on streaming. Did you find that to be true, or do
To
you
pause, like to pause,
not to pause? I know how to pause, but I know, but thank you, Joe. I'm just thinking the idea of how I bounce around.
It's the one with
on
the
Sundays.
It's the one with the 2 stripes up and down.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
It's usually right
yeah,
next to the
like
arrow
this.
button. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the
You're
pause
very
button.
helpful, by the way. You should definitely be like, you're a walking FAQ. Google that, kids. Anyway, so the point is that when there's multiple screens and multiple games on a YouTube streaming service, it's going to be, I don't know, not as easy to kind of bounce around like I do now. That's just my minor complaint.
Oh,
but having said
I
that,
see. I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's not as easily maneuvered. Anyway, the point is, but I am excited about the technology part of it. Like you said,
Yeah.
it's going to be. I think they're going to bring it. Who's going to be like? Who's going to be like the host of the NFL Sunday Ticket? That's what I want to know.
What I'm excited, and I think they hold the better possibility to do this, is I can't help but think eventually somewhere down the road we're going to get to essentially like an a la carte Sunday Ticket, to where I can select, instead of paying, I don't know, whatever, instead of paying $100 for the full package, I can pay half the price for just like 2 teams, and I get all the Patriots games, and I get all the whatever other team I want, like
Dolphins.
And then and then within the a la carte, maybe even like weekly, like you pay $10 a week,
Right.
I want to watch.
Well, they have that now. They have NFL Plus now, which you can do by the game. You can pay that, and not on TV, but on the app. Yeah, NFL Plus. I have it. It's NFL Plus sign.
Yeah, I have it. I've never come across that.
Well, it requires a credit card. I don't know if you have that. No, I pay.
Are you sure?
For the game, for the actual game, I'm almost
for a live game, you could watch a live game.
I want to say yes. Hang on, for sure. Obviously, the preseason and after the game, but I'm thinking for the live game, I'm almost sure you can pay for that one game.
Anyway,
well, let's figure it out. Let's all settle down.
We won't figure it out. YouTube will figure it out.
Exactly. Quickly, when they put the kibosh on NFL Plus. Sorry, NFL Plus. I just exposed you for loophole. All right. Listen, so the draft.
Yeah.
Any surprises? Any comments? First of all, the fashion. Can we talk about what these kids are wearing?
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
No, I had my daughter at soccer practice. My daughter, Jovi's all over the map right now. She's got like soccer.
Listen, my cat had to be groomed, and I skipped that to watch the draft. Okay? I am committed to the podcast.
No. So here's what I got. So I woke up this morning and I wanted to see what happened, obviously. And so I came across one of those first round instant grades for all the draft picks, right?
Yeah.
And without going into a lot of detail, I'm going to give you the number one thing that stood out to me as I went.
The D grade?
Nope. There are, all the grades are essentially A's and B's. There's like one C. There's 2 F's. And the Lions possess both of them. Wow. And I have to agree with the first one, and I think this is one that you mentioned. Their first F is the 12th pick, that running back.
That no one saw coming, because, by the way, and the other guy, what's the dude that's supposed to be picked in the first 4 picks? He's still sitting there in the second round.
Really?
They kept cutting to him every single round. He was predicted to go. He was the best athlete not taken since the 4th pick. What's his name? I forgot. I'm blanking out. Anyway, he was sitting there, and this is his face.
Right.
Every round. He was like,
was it Brady Quinn, the quarterback?
Not Brady Quinn. It was like, right. Well, Brady Quinn was in the past. Yeah, he was the one that waited forever. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, the Lions at 12 selected a running back, which as you already mentioned, usually the first running back is the first running back is like second round tops.
Second round. Yeah, like the pick 42 or something. Yeah.
But not only that, I'm thinking of the Lions, and I'm like, when I read the head, they selected a running back. My first thought was like, wait, they already have DeAndre Swift and Williams.
The one need they don't have is running back.
And then
need they don't have.
Hang on. And then I read the little blurb further and realized that they signed David Montgomery to a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
So they have, I mean, they must have gotten rid of somebody, I'm guessing. But yes, the one need they did not, the one that they didn't have to have was a running back.
Yeah, exactly.
And then at pick 18, they took a linebacker from Iowa.
I'm thinking because the Lions had 2 picks, which, by the way, I thought those 2 picks could be the pivotal aspect to really tilt their seat, because they have now a revitalized offense. They're scoring 40 points a game. They're like, they just need some defense. So what did they do? They picked a running back. Yeah. A running back.
I mean, at least
there's no edge rusher. There's no cornerback. There's no safety help. There's nothing. They picked a running back that they don't need. I am as baffled as anyone.
I mean, at least they went linebacker with the 18th pick. But and like, listen, I'm not an NFL.
He's by himself, by the way. He's the only athlete in the entire defense that can know it.
I'm not an NFL scout, so I can't. I have no basis to stamp.
By the way, today's been the theme that you're telling us a lot about what you don't do.
But I'm just reading. Well, I only have what to go off of, right? So I'm just reading. It says the Lions could have easily picked up Campbell potentially 2 rounds later than this.
Yeah. Oh my God. 2 rounds. Not even 2 picks. 2 rounds later.
Right. So like,
oh my God.
I feel bad. Like it makes my heart hurt, because in the last season we talked about how big a fans of the Lions we've been.
Or are they like, they know something that no one else does?
I just don't think so.
Given their stellar track record.
I just don't think the Lions have some super insight that the rest of the league does not. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I mean, that poor fan. I keep thinking of the poor fan. I have so many friends that are Detroit Lions fans, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is not good. No bueno.
Yeah. What about you? Anything stand out in the draft?
Again,
fashion.
Whatever.
You said fashion.
Well, first of all, when did the draft become Coachella or something? It's just so. I mean, if I could hear ESPN analysts screaming into a microphone over something that we've known for 6 months is coming, honestly, it's like, oh my God, Tiger Woods wore red on Sunday. It's like right. I don't know. It's literally. I think I'm looking at it as these kids have the it factor. Who has the swag? Who has the who has that type of like persona. And this wide receiver that I think the Packers picked up, his name is K Brown or something. Can you check that for me? I think his name is like Zay or K with a Z or something. Okay. Brooks or I don't know. Anyway, this kid walked in and he was wearing a leather 3-piece suit, black leather. It was swaggy. It was creepy. It was just douchey, but it was so, I don't know, with the hair and it was just kind of, I think this kid has something. He either has sweaty balls or he is going to be the coolest MFer in the entire draft class. So, and I think he's
Zay Flowers.
Yeah. What team did he get?
The Ravens.
Right. So now Lamar has him. So now I'm thinking that's going to be interesting. I kept thinking those two together are going to be really fun to watch because the internet.
Listen, we joke about how well we can predict. How well we can predict. But the fact that you are predicting Zay Flowers based on.
How about a great name is that? Zay Flowers. I mean,
based upon his fashion at the draft. Hang on, no, I'm giving you credit here. The same exact rating, the grades that went out. The 22nd pick, Baltimore Ravens select Zay Flowers, wide receiver from Boston College. Grade A+. You don't even need to be a scout. You don't even need to be a scout.
I need to see the wardrobe. I need to go in their closet to figure out what. I mean, Joe Burrow, first of all, who's geekier than Joe Burrow just on paper, right? All of a sudden, he walks out with like a leopard skin, like like, trench coat. And he's like, what? He's like become swag master. He's too swaggy for a white dude. But here we are with literally this guy. I just turned on the TV and I saw him picked. I said, a leather suit. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
This guy's going places.
He's going places. I'm here for it. And Lamar just signed $1 billion contract. He wants to go primetime. Ooh, it's going to be a fun conference. AFC, baby, all the way.
That is funny. That is too funny.
Even the manifesto writer is with us now in the AFC. So it's going to be, anyway, so that was my highlight of the actual, that's all I need to do. I said, this guy is going to be a star. This guy's going to be a star. So.
I am excited. The Patriots got an A+ grade. They drafted a cornerback.
Well, you guys need one, so that's good.
Yeah, they drafted a cornerback that apparently fell to them again. Yeah, fell the 17th pick, I think they had, or something like that. But he was a top 10 talent or something. I don't know, but
well, the Dolphins, of course, lost the first round pick to the boneheaded ownership penalty for tampering or whatever the fuck we did with whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so we have our 51st pick. So luckily we have a pretty stacked team right now, but we still have 4 picks in the next couple of days. So we'll see. I don't want them to trade anything away. I don't want, our biggest hole we always have is the same hole we had since Dan Marino was there. We need an O-line. So anything else is just added flavor. We definitely need an O-line. If we got 4 big fat boys in the front, I'd be very happy with our 4 picks. Let's just get 4 big boys. And of those, 2 of them will work out. So let's do that. So
figure it out. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's jump off of football here. I know you want to get into your Miami Heat. Well, at least I'm assuming.
You assume correctly, my friend. Okay. We've always talked about this, you and I. Basketball is only interesting in the fourth quarter, 5 minutes to go, when, even 12 points down, the game is up in the air. Right. Well, in general, first of all, you don't even watch during the regular season.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I watch during the regular. I watch every game. To be fair, I watch, but I do fast forward at times when it's like, Yeah. Okay. So Miami, just a quick history. They were 1 bucket away last season from going to the finals and possibly winning everything. And they would just because they were the top seed in the East, and we were, the Heat were just completely kind of overwhelming everybody. This year, the inverse happened. We went from the best shooting 3-point team to the worst, but from best to worst, because the entire roster, I think we played, our starting 5 played together a total of 11 games over an 82 game season. So it's injuries were just, no, it's not. It's been, anyway. So we snuck in, we had to play in to the playoffs. So we became the 8th seed. The last seed allowed, as you guys know, in the conference. So we played 8 plays to 1. And we played the honor of playing the Milwaukee Bucks. We had the best record in the entire NBA with the MVP, Giannis. So anyway, so basically we were just, everyone, I look back, every single predictor, ESPN, The Athletic, everybody said 4-0 sweep, not even close. It's the joke. Jimmy Butler, as he's prone to do, says, hold my beer. Jimmy Butler took this team on his back. Game 1, we beat Milwaukee in Milwaukee with Tyler Hero's help, which is our last year's 6th man of the year. This year he's starting. He broke his ankle. So there's no, not only did we somehow pull off game 1, but now with Tyler Hero gone, 0 chance out of 0 to win this, 5 games for sure. We lose game 2. Okay. So it's 1-1. We go to Miami. Jimmy wins. We win that game by 12 points. People are like, okay, Giannis has been hurt. He's back in game 4. So game 4 became the single greatest performance by a single player in the NBA playoffs I've ever witnessed. And I'm including Michael Jordan because I'm old enough to have watched him play live. I saw Jimmy Butler put a team on his back and refuse to lose. He scored 56 points in game 4. 56.
That's a lot.
His first and fourth quarter of that game 4 were something to behold. We were down. The Heat were down by 12 points starting the fourth quarter. We were down by 14 points with 4 minutes to go in the game, and we went on an 18-2 run because of Jimmy. He literally took the ball and said, "Get out of my way." I've never seen anything like it. It was just unbelievable. He not only that, not only is he like Michael Jordan like in the playoffs, but he's a two-way player. He stole three passes. He had 3 steals in the last 5 minutes himself, not the team, himself. I mean, unbelievable. He's never in foul trouble. He literally is everywhere at once. He's exhausted. I mean, he was bent over, heaving. He couldn't believe it. And he just said, after the interview, said, I did it. I'm just balling here. I'm just playing hoops. I'm like, all right. So then that's the greatest performance ever. All of a sudden, Miami's up 3-1, and the NBA, the people on TNT and Barkley was like saying, man, we look stupid up here. Everyone's saying there's no way. And Barkley just says it how he did. He just said,
right.
Okay, you guys can talk all you want. You guys were just schooled by a superstar. Jimmy Butler's a superstar. Anyway, so then he said he's not going to be stopped. And everyone, oh, no, they're back in Milwaukee for sure. Milwaukee will win that game, and they'll go back to Miami, and they'll work it out. The Bucks are still too powerful without, whatever. Sure enough, game 5 in Milwaukee just happened 2 nights ago. 5 minutes left. I kept laughing because I kept thinking that's exactly where Jonah would pick up the game, and Miami's down in Milwaukee by 16 points.
Wow.
5 minutes to go in the game. What does Jimmy Butler do? I see him in the sideline tell the coach like this. Ready? He said, me. He just did this. Me. I went, okay. 12 points down, 8 points down, 7 points down, 5 points down, a 3-pointer. Jimmy Butler, a 3-pointer, 2 points down. All right. All the way down to, and by the way, to their defense, Giannis stepped up also. He had, he was not going to let it happen just like that in his house. All right. 2.1 seconds left in the game. Miami's down by 2 points. We get the ball on the sideline at the halfway court, in midcourt. So 2 seconds left. Literally 2 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
The ball is heaved towards the basket. Butler outjumps Giannis and Lopez, the twin towers of terror, outleaps them, shoots the ball up, falls on his back. The red light goes on. Time is over. The ball goes in. Overtime. I went, what? Anyway, 17 different angles to the shot, and the announcers cannot. I've never seen a stadium, an arena go silent like a funeral. It was because it was. I knew then it was over. Overtime, Butler time. Jimmy Buckets came in. Anyway, long story short, oh my God, Jimmy Butler. Now we're the 8th seed, playing our rival. Talk about the Jets and Patriots and Dolphins. We play the Knicks. The Knicks, who haven't won a playoff series, I don't know, since I was like, in my bar mitzvah. Yeah. They literally won the first round against Cleveland. So now it's going to be, how epic is this? The Knicks and Heat, like old school time. Yeah. So that's going to be a fun series. And the Celtics won also.
The battle of Pat Riley's exes.
Well, exactly. And hopefully we play the Lakers in the finals. It would be the trifecta of anyway, the long story short, if you're not a fan of basketball, I get it. Tune in to the Heat Knicks games. Should be very chippy and very kind of not friendly. But in the fourth quarter, tune in and see where we are. Because 12, 16 point leads are not necessarily over for anybody. So anyway, basketball is fun this time of NBA is fun this time of year. And gosh, Jimmy Butler, hats off, man. Because no one saw that coming. Because third greatest point performance of all time with the 56 points. So anyway, that's my Jimmy Butler spiel. Any thoughts?
Okay. Nope, none.
Thank you. Next topic. It's like curling with Jonah in Canada. Curling's my go-to for all my random sports.
I don't have many. I did see LeBron.
But do me a favor, check out that 2-second alley-oop thing. It's worth watching. Yeah, it takes 2 seconds, by the way. It takes 2 seconds.
That's 2 seconds I won't get back, Richard.
Well, it's fun to watch an athlete do something extraordinary. I think anyway.
Like put a ball through a basket that already happened.
Seriously, like throw a ball into a mitt is also interesting. Come on.
I'm not telling anyone to go watch.
Okay, well, it's true. I think people that like excellence in achievement.
They do. I'm just
Okay.
pulling your leg. I'm getting you going just a little bit.
I'm cranked up today. You have to get me going. Jimmy Butler. I was like, come on, though. All right. Anyway.
What else? What else in the NBA? I saw that LeBron's doing really well as
LeBron's back. Yeah, apparently
yeah.
he's woken up, and that's gonna be fun.
20 rebounds the other night. That was
He never had that ever. I mean, I've never seen him do a 20 rebound game.
Yeah,
that I remember ever.
You know that I saw that impressed me because immediately I just thought like.
Well, he has the brawn for it.
30,
he has he has the muscle to get 39. In there.
I know, but he's an elder statesman at this point.
He's 40, isn't he? Like 38.
I think he's not quite 40 yet, but he's high 30s somewhere. He's 38, 39.
Yeah.
But to kind of like Jimmy Butler, like LeBron at age 38 was like, all right, let's do this. Like
Jimmy's like Butler's like 35 or something, to 36 or something. Yeah, so he's not young either. So how old's Jimmy Butler? Let's find out.
He seems younger, but
well, he has that youthful face. He has
at any rate, yeah. So we all know that
33.
And I was about to cover hockey for a second, but my point,
hockey's great.
But my point is like hockey and basketball, even baseball for that matter. Like we all like first round of the playoffs is kind of like meh. Like it's not that exciting until you start getting into like the second round and further. That's why I was about to gloss over hockey, and it's as hockey always does, a phenomenal job of. I'm looking at the series. The Vegas Knights they won their series 4-1. They're already on to the conference semifinals. But every other series is 3-2 right now.
3-2. Yeah. And by the way, the Rangers were supposed to like skate through. They won the first 2 games, and the Islanders not only have won the 3 games, and meanwhile the Islanders are like, what? They had like terrible seasons. And the Islanders have won 3 games like going away, not even close. So that's
they've won 2 games. Islanders.
No, they're 3-2 up, I think.
They're down 3-2.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's better for
they're
the
playing
Rangers. Okay.
Well, they're playing the Hurricane. The Rangers are playing the Devils.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking the Rangers and the Devils. I'm thinking New Jersey.
The Devils are up 3-2.
I'm sorry. I meant the Devils. You're right. The Devils have won 3 in a row fairly easily, like 4-0, I think was yesterday. And it was like all of a sudden it's like 3-2, and the Ranger fans are like talking Stanley Cup the whole time, and all of a sudden not so much. They're like freaking out. Yeah. So it's interesting. Hockey is kind of a cruel. Remember last season, my favorite, the Florida Panthers, were the best team in hockey, and they lost to the first round to the Lightning. I mean, it's bad enough to lose in the playoffs, but to lose the first round in Florida, in Tampa, it's like having to go to Tampa and lose. It's like it's not a good deal for anybody.
But other than that, I mean, honestly, not much to report. It's just the first round, and it gets more exciting as we go on.
Yeah, that's true. But I do think it's going to be the Bruins and the Knights, the Golden Knights, if I had to guess. The Las Vegas and Boston Bruins, which would be a fun series.
Yep, that would be fun. I do want to cover
those Southie Boston fans in Vegas, drunk on the strip. That's gold. That's gold right there. Right. Yeah, just keep me away from that scene.
Yeah, they're gonna end up buried in the desert somewhere.
Exactly. Or gambling their mortgages away to their claptrap homes in South Boston.
But there is one story in baseball that I wanted to cover before we kind of sign off here.
Ohani?
No.
Oh, Ohani? No.
No. A gentleman by the name of Drew Maggi, I think it's Maggi, made his major league debut for the Pirates as a 33-year-old after 13 seasons in the minor leagues.
Wow.
And I read that, and I played with a couple of guys in the minor leagues that were grinders for sure and had long minor league careers, but most of those guys that had long, I'm talking at least 10 year plus minor league careers, if not 12 into 15. I played with one guy I played for 17 years. Most of those players, they keep getting little tastes of the big leagues. Mm-hmm. So it kind of keeps you around a little bit.
Well, it kind of justifies why they're still hanging out.
Right. And just, when I read that stat, the headline, and I looked in and saw the stats of how many plate appearances he's had, and how many games he's played in the minor leagues. I was
Is he a
absolutely
pitcher?
no. He's a position player.
Utility player? Oh, position player.
Yeah, kind
Wow.
of utility. He seems. I don't know much about him, to be honest with you, but he seems, just given his build, he seems very utility-ish. He seems like a kind of like an
That's some
infielder.
Pedroia. Yeah.
Yeah, an infielder that plays around the infield, and you could
So what I'm
probably.
hearing is that you still have hopes of returning to the
Oh
major
yeah,
leagues.
well yes, that's exactly where this was going.
Which I
uh,
completely endorse, by the way. I mean, we'll get a whole campaign going. We'll do a whole viral thing. I'll,
no, it was just just to fathom the perseverance to stick through it, and
that's
actually, you know what?
amazing.
Actually, not necessarily the perseverance. And to be cheesy and to steal from Kevin Costner movie, the love of the game, like the love of the game that this gentleman must have in order to
Well,
do
I'd like to
this.
know if he's married because I think the love of his wife would be nice to
I, d-
include
I
because that's a
don't
lot of patience.
I don't think he is.
Okay,
If I
then he's,
remember, if I remember,
what
I
you're saying is
watched.
then he's the first gay player openly to be in the major leagues to be gay. Is that what you're saying?
Well, here's no.
Just teasing you. This is all
I
kind
mean,
of
I might be. I have no idea, but no, I was gonna bring up a funny thing. I had a manager way back in the minor leagues. I had a manager who guys would get engaged like during the season all the time, and he would just go, "Fucking idiot." And his point
he's
was,
not too bitter about his own life, his own
but
marriage.
hang on, but his point was in this scenario, people don't last 13 years in the minor leagues
right.
with someone else that's
Children, the responsibility of a wife and
absolutely,
everything.
yeah. It becomes much
It's
harder.
a life work balance that doesn't make sense for the people in your
Right.
life. So yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, but I'm saying this is amazing. I mean, like you said, the love of the game, perseverance, the maybe one day that's every day waking up thinking this is the year and goes to spring training and gets sent down.
yeah,
I mean, first of all, it's kudos to the team that brought him up because honestly, one of 26 players, bring him up. Just bring him up for like for a tour for the weekend.
So
Bring him up,
here's another impressive part, and I believe I read this correctly. He got called up by the Pirates. He was drafted by the Pirates.
Oh wow! So he's been in the same farm team the whole time.
That was my understanding. Yes.
Wow, that is.
Now,
First of all, he must be like Big Poppy for that minor league team, right?
I
He must
could
be like the.
right. Yeah. Total. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had a they showed him get called up. Usually, when you get called up, you go in the office with the manager. It's just you, the manager, and like the pitch.
And like the wet jock shops are behind you, hanging.
No, and like the pitching coach. If you're a pitcher, it's like the manager, the pitching coach, and you. Whatever. It's a private conversation in the manager's office. This one, it was in front of the whole team, and manager, made this little spiel, blah 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 blah, and like the whole clubhouse went nuts.
He was like the Susan Lucci of minor league baseball. Susan Lucci, for those who don't know pop culture, famously was the most nominated actress in the daytime Emmys and to never win. She like 14 years in a row was nominated for best actress and she never won. And then after the 15th nomination, the guy who announced the winner is like, the streak is over, Susan Lucci. That's basically what he's feeling now. The streak is over.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think that's great. I think that's honestly that's a very, very, very good story. That's good. That does warm the cockles of my heart.
Yeah.
Sports is that way, it's like, I don't know, it's just intoxicating and infuriating, and it's just like it just takes over so many chambers of your brain and heart that you're like, okay,
yeah.
If you always wish at some point when you go through the downs of loving a team or a player or whatever so much, and they don't do well or the team doesn't do well, you're like, why am I doing this to myself? Just like check out for a minute. And yet there it is. The hope springs eternal, as they say. The next season comes and you're like, this is the year. Speaking of which, I want to bring something up before we go. This is, as you know, this is the season that I get into my Rafa Nadal tennis moment because it's a clay court season. And it's all in Europe. It's Madrid, Barcelona, Monte Carlo, Rome, and then you go to the big one in Roland Garros, which is the French Open. And that's the one that the Rafa has won 14 times more. It's like 10 times more than anyone else in history. It's like insane. Rafa's been hurt the second part of the early part of the season, so he hasn't played any of the clay court tournaments that he always dominates. He's won at least all those ones I mentioned in those cities at least 10 times each. So he's been a dominant force, obviously, and he needs one or two. He usually needs one or two of those victories behind him as he heads into Roland Garros to get confidence. Because Roland Garros, as you guys may know, it's a Grand Slam, so it's the best of 5 sets versus the best of 3. So it takes and they've always said the hardest thing to do in the history of sports, I'll say this slowly, the hardest thing to do in the history of sports has been said by people who know sports in all kinds of sports, is beating Rafa Nadal in 5 sets at Roland Garros. It's only happened twice out of 140 attempts. So it's almost impossible. But it's life. He's getting older. He's getting hurt more and more frequently. And in the ascension of his countrymen, as I've been chronicling here, Carlos Alcaraz. Alcaraz also has been chippy this year as far as getting hurt. But when he's playing at a level that no one has ever seen before. In the history. I mean, he's playing at a level where he played another contender, Tsitsipas. He played him in the final just last tournament in Barcelona, and he was toying with him. It was just, Carlos Alcaraz is potentially, imagine the big 3, which is Nadal, Roger, and Djokovic, wrapped into one person with the personality of like a charming Boy Scout. It's just no one's ever seen this before.
You would argue he's 3 times better.
Well, I'm arguing that he's potentially the most dynamic, skilled tennis player, well-rounded tennis player. The speed, the power, the brains, the mental. It's a head game. It's a head case game. Also, none of that comes into play. He never quits. He's been down 4 match points. He powers through. It's amazing. Anyway, the point is that this is, to me, this feels like if Djokovic or Rafa Nadal don't win the French Open, this could really signal the official handoff to end of a historic, the most historic era in tennis, handing off in some unofficial way to Alcaraz as the leader of the new guns and young guns. So anyway, it's just for people who follow tennis in any way, pay attention to what's happening at Roland Garros this season, which is in Memorial Day to mid-June. It's going to be interesting to see if any of the old guards step up, or if they can. If they don't, and if Carlos just sweeps through, it's going to be a very, very quick transition to a new era of tennis. So
okay, all right, something to look forward to.
Yep.
RPF, my friend, I feel as though we have come to the end of today's episode. However, it's not the end of us. We will be back next time with another episode. We're just calling it quits for now.
One question though: what was the first thought you had when Aaron Rodgers became a Jet? The very first thought. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was. It was the moment. It was the moment my allegiance shifted from a Patriots fan to a Jets hater.
I just had to hear that again. I just had to. It's such a classic thing. It takes the pressure off. Just hate the Jets. Yeah, it's so much easier.
It does.
By the way, I do want to say that we want to invite my really good friend Frank Seppi, who's like this legendary guy. He's a huge Jets fan, so it's going to be fun to. Let's do it, right? For the 3 of us to talk football the whole hour. It'll be fun. Okay.
Yes, let's do it for sure. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in this week. You can listen to us anywhere you get your podcasts, over at Apple, Spotify, Podbean. We're also found socially on Instagram and Twitter, as well as our dedicated YouTube channel. Just head over to any of those platforms, type Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF into the search bar, and we'll pop right up. RPF, my friend, as always, it has been a pleasure, and I will see you next time.
I'll see you next time, sir.